everyone, you should have done your mid-tones by now. Just to make you aware, you don't have to have cotton wool buds, but if you like using, like, the end of it is quite precise, so then you can shade in certain areas. What I'd like you to do is make sure you blend your fish, so going in, because as you may have noticed, when you blend, the shading does go a little bit lighter. So if you don't like it as light as it should be and you think it should be dark compared to the picture, I would blend it out and then I would go back in with my pencil and I would go over again with another layer to make sure it's as dark as I want it to be. But this lesson, what we are going to do this time is we're going to concentrate on our highlights and our textures. So you may have noticed on the body of the fish, there's quite a lot of little textures of like little dots, and that's what we're going to do today. So I've noticed that on its body around here there are little textures, so I'm just going to draw some little dots like so. I wouldn't dot like this because you're not probably going to be able to see them very well. So really have a look where the dots are supposed to go on the fish. So I've noticed that it goes quite near the fin here. There's some areas here. And I'm kind of drawing little patches. I'm not drawing identical dots because it doesn't look like that on here. There's some bits here, some dots there, and I still have my photo of it off to the side. So I'm checking it every single time. I'm not just having a look and seeing it has dots and then just going, okay, I'm going to put dots wherever. I'm really observing where I'm supposed to be putting these dots. Okay, so I'm happy with that. It's probably a bit more. So I'm going up here as well. What I recommend is with your highlights is to get yourself a rubber, preferably one that's square or something that has like a sharp edge like this, not a round one, because or you can cut a part of the rubber off, because on here there is a little highlight to make it look like they're 3D, so the fins stick out. So what I'm going to do is use the very, very side of my rubber and I'm going to rub parts of it out. Like so. Okay, and this will help me get the highlights. There isn't actually that many highlights on this fish. If I'm rubbing out parts just with the corner, as you can see, it gets a precise line rather than if I'm doing it with this side. So I'm getting the real corner of it, having a look at the image and having a look where I think that these should go. So I'm just going to do that bit. There are some bits on the end here as well that I can do, like so. After I've done that, I can then go in, because as you may have noticed, all the lines on the fin here have kind of disappeared because I've smudged so much. So what I'm going to do is go back over some of the details because we don't want these bits getting lost. So I'm going over with a really sharp pencil and drawing my lines back in, and this will be the end part, okay? So if you're still not happy with where you've put the shadows, I wouldn't recommend doing this because you'll end up smudging it again. So when you're happy with where you've got the shadows, then I would go back in and draw in some of the details that you have missed. Or some of them may have been completely smudged up. And you can still shade a little bit more if you want to, but again, if you're going to blend, it's going to blend the line away. So I would do this as the very last part. There we go. So there's some on there, and there is still some that I'm missing on this part here. So I'm going to go in with this part as well. And I'm completely missing, which I haven't noticed, is this supposed to be spiky, and because I've blended it so much, you can't really see it anymore. So I'm going to re-add the spikes on the fin back in, because it is a tropical fish and they have like spikes on the fins. I'm not sure what they're actually called, but I'm going to call them spikes. So I'm going to redraw these back in like so you can actually see where they are. And you may have noticed in the time lapse I put a piece of paper over my hand while I'm drawing like this, and this is so I don't smudge as I'm going along, and that might be really helpful for you. I am right-handed, so obviously as I'm drawing the fish I'm going across this way, but it would also work if you're left-handed as well, because if you're drawing on this bit you don't want it smudging this bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in and work in some of my details, and I'm double checking where I'm doing this every time. May add in a little bit more shadows if I'm not happy with it. So that's what I want you to do, is I want you to just concentrate on the textures, so all of these little dots on the body. I want you to concentrate on where the highlights are. There aren't that many, but I want you to concentrate on doing it with the side of your rubber if you can. If you don't have a side of a rubber, you can always cut a little tiny bit of it off, just off the end if you can. Don't worry if you can't, because I don't want you going and ruining all your rubbers. But if you get a square rubber, that'd be brilliant. And then I want you to go in and try and have a look at some of the highlights. When you have done that and you're completely happy with all the tones, what I want you to do is go in with your sharp pencil and go over some of the details that you may have smudged in when you have been blending. And then you should be finished with your tropical fish.